Hello everyone, this is Wells. Long time no see, now welcome back to Geek Logic. Today's video starts from a comment in March. Qufu Normal University. As soon as I saw this username, I knew what it means. Checking the map, it'll take me 7 hours to Qufu. Acceptable? So, I decided to visit Qufu in the Labor Day holiday.
Geek Logic.
Once I hit the highway, I realized I've greatly underestimated the holiday traffic. Heavy traffic made me take 5 hours just to cross the Yangtze River. After driving 13 hours by 8 p.m. without even leaving the province, I decided to stay overnight in Xuzhou. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. The next day, I visited the Huaihai Campaign Memorial Hall to learn about the victory achieved with handcards. Then I resumed my journey to Qufu. The road conditions on the second day were much better, smooth sailing all the way to my destination, Qufu. Every single Chinese person has heard this sentence, including Hua Luogeng. After PRC founded, he immediately gave up his lucrative position and gave back to Beijing to oversee the establishment of the Mathematics Institute of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, which was formally established on July 1, 1952. In that year's work summary, Hua clearly identified computers as a key research direction. Hua recruited 3 talented young scholars from Tsinghua University, Min Naida, Xia Peisu, and Wang Chuanying. In 1953, the first 3-person computer team in China was officially established. In 1956, Premier Zhou Enlai led the development of the 1956 to 1967 Science and Technology Development Plan, which listed establishing computational technology as one of the 57 major scientific and technological tasks. In the same year, the Chinese Academy of Sciences began establishing a computer institute. In September, a senior expert delegation led by Min Naida visited the Soviet Union to study computer development, manufacturing, teaching, application, and related technologies. They observed the decimal computer and focused on learning about the M20 computer. Soviet academician Lebedev personally organized the visit and provided detailed written recommendations for the establishment of China's Computer Institute. Upon returning to China, the Institute's preparatory committee decided it would be more prudent to replicate an existing, mature computer model. Thus, the M3 project team was established in a rented hotel room in Xiyuan, led by Min Naida, with Mo Gensheng as the project leader and Zhang Zichang as the deputy leader. By November 1957, the first set of M3 blueprints arrived in Beijing, and the committee signed a trial production contract with Factory 738. In March 1958, the factory began assembling the M3 computer. On August 1st, the computer successfully started operation as a gift for the Army Day. The Chinese version of the M3 was named the 103 computer, also known as the August 1st computer. On August 3rd, the People's Daily shared the good news with the nation, marking the dawn of China's computer age. The only intact 103 is now preserved at the China Teachers Museum of Qufu Normal University. It quietly stands there, welcoming visitors and recounting the history of Chinese computing over the past 6 decades. Before learning about the 103, let's take a look at its prototype, the M3 computer's architecture. The M3 computer's core components include the arithmetic unit, the program sender, and ROM storage that serves as modern-day RAM. It also featured input and output devices such as a teletype. Now let's examine the 103 at Qufu Normal University. This is a mid-period quality-improved DJS-1 model computer that comprises 6 cabinets. The leftmost cabinet is the I/O cabinet, managing the I/O devices. The operation panel on the left is now covered by a bare aluminum plate. According to old photos, it should be a tape drive here. A teletype can be attached to print results. The I/O device's work modes can be controlled by the operation panel. The largest cabinet is the computation cabinet, containing core components like the arithmetic unit and program sender. The upper half of the cabinet houses the arithmetic unit capable of processing 30-bit binary numbers. In the middle is a massive control panel for program input, debugging, and operation. 2 adjacent cabinets serve as storage cabinets equivalent to modern RAM. The left one is magnetic core memory, which increases computation speed to 1500 operations per second. The upper contains the storage control circuitry, and the middle features a massive CX1 core memory array composed of vertically inserted magnetic core boards with a capacity of 2000 words. Core memory operates using electromagnetic induction to store information. If we pass a wire through a core and we define the counterclockwise field as theta 0, the field of the core will remain unchanged if the current field aligns with the core's field. However, if the current flows in the opposite direction and reaches a certain intensity, it'll flip the field of the core, thereby producing theta 1. If 2 wires pass through the core, one as a drive line and the other as a sense line, the drive line's field will induce no response in the sensing wire if aligned with the core's field. However, when the core's field flips, a weak induced current will appear in the sense line. Using this characteristic, data stored in the core memory can be read. Clever scientists arranged cores in an array, splitting the drive lines into vertical and horizontal groups. Each group carries half the current required to change the field, allowing precise selection of a specific core in the matrix. When reading, if no induced current is detected, the data matches the preset value. Otherwise, the data is opposite. The correct value is then rewritten back into the core. To the right is the magnetic drum storage cabinet of the 103. The drum was developed and standardized with the help of Soviet experts at Factory 738. The 5th cabinet is the power supply cabinet, providing power output for the entire 103. Interestingly, the dial in the upper left corner of the power control panel is Soviet-made and remains wide, while other domestic ones have all slightly yellowed. The rightmost cabinet is the cooling cabinet with a penguin trademark. It cools the other cabinets via air ducts on top. The 103 contains approximately 800 vacuum tubes, 2,000 copper oxide diodes, 10,000 resistors and capacitors, 10,000 contact points, and 50,000 solder joints. Handcrafted by Factory 738 workers being a technological marvel. After returning from Qufu, I began considering how to recreate a 103. I took hundreds of photos at the museum and measured its dimensions with a tape measure. First, I'll model it with software to ensure the dimensions are accurate. The 103 occupies about 40 square meters, which is far too large for my home. For the replica, I decided to scale it down to 1 by 10. The workers at Factory 738 handcrafted the 103's enclosure. To honor their efforts, I'll also handcraft the model instead of using modern 3D printing technology. After finishing the wooden frame, I used PVC sheets for the housing. Also, the details like the panel's frames and ventilation holes are made with cardboard. Now, time to put together the frame and the housing. Then I worked on the cooling air ducts for the top of the cabinet. Air duct parts need to be joined. Placing the splice seams along the edges of each part of the duct effectively hides the gaps. Large gaps were filled and sanded before painting. The internal circuitry was too complex to replicate. I printed detailed photos of the circuits and sticked them to the inside of PVC panels. Sticking dials to the control panel. Sticking the penguin trademark to the cooling cabinet. Mounting the 103 computer nameplate. Yes, this is China's first computer. For the replica, restoring the functionalities and bringing it back to life outweighs the mere appearance. To make the replica interactive and functional, I collaborated with Xu Zefan, the initiator of the Computer 103 project, to improve its hardware implementation. For the 103's many old domestic vacuum tubes, we used a tiny, fully domestic FPGA chip to recreate all its logic functions. FPGA chips are programmable and highly versatile. But first, we needed to design a complete circuit. Let's get started. The circuit board was designed with a new 103 computer logo, which immediately elevated its aesthetics. The actual circuit board had a sleek black finish with a premium feel. Due to the large number of components, I customized a stencil to make soldering easier. the FPGA's 60-pin board-to-board connector required some manual soldering repairs due to close pin spacing. Once completed, Xu Zefan also finished the code, which was then uploaded to the chip via a development board. Unfortunately, because of the model's scale down, the signal lights couldn't be placed in their exact positions and were fixed to the back of the model instead. Power up and test! Everything worked perfectly, displaying the preset values in register C. Next, I created the power supply. I installed two 806050 batteries into the power cabinet and modified the panel by adding a power indicator light for extra interactivity. I/O devices such as tape drive and teletype were essential for interaction. So, I designed a module using a 555 chip to convert magnetic tape audio signals into level signals for input. Additionally, I brought a thermal received printer to simulate the teletype. I painted it to match the model's color scheme. With all the hardware ready, I wrote a program for the 103. Perhaps I'm the first one writing programs for the 103 in VS Code. I also created a script to convert the 103 source code into audio signals, generating a WAV file that can be conveniently transferred to the tape. Finally, I connected everything and began testing. Set the new 103 to external input mode. The code was successfully loaded. 103 computer power on. The output numbers looks familiar. Is there more? Oh, now I understand. How about you? The 103 computer, China's first domestically produced computer, holds an irreplaceable position in the nation's computing history. It laid the foundation for China's computing industry. A total of 49 units were produced, contributing to nuclear weapons, aerospace, aviation, military, and electronic projects across the country. In education, the 103 trained thousands of professionals and educators at institutions. As a start, Xu Jiafu and Yang Fuqing authored China's first computer programming textbook for universities in 1961, promoting computer education in higher education. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Beijing Jingshan School teacher Sha Youwei introduced computer education to primary and middle schools, cultivating generations of talent. Since 1983, under Deng Xiaoping's guidance of 3 orientations and starting computer education from child, a nationwide wave of computer education took off, laying the groundwork for 21st century informatization. Today, informatization education extends to remote areas. Even after retirement, Wei, a pioneer of school computer education, participates in the Candlelight Volunteer Teaching Program, bringing lively IT lessons to underprivileged students. This enduring spirit of dedication, exploration, and advancement reflects the legacy of the 103.
我是去师大第一届数学系本科毕业生。毕业考试以后呢，我就留校了。我是在函数类教研组。函数类教研组呢，就是从数学分析、复变函数、识别函数，一直讲到识别函数。上半年有一个学术会议在复旦大学召开，大概是4月份开这个学术会议。开学术会议的时候吧，会下我们交流就说起来了，就说我们吧是凭空，根本没有理论与实践相结合，我们也没有计算机。在这时候呢，复旦呢老师和我们交流的时候啊，他就有意想把103G送给我们。我们只是说我们实际困难，但是并没想到要这台计算机，是复旦大学自己提出来。当时特别高兴啊，所以学校里也挺重视。当时学校里马上调，那个小楼盖得很快，这个调了103G，后来我基本上就是计算机专业的课程了。我们那时候没有人我计算机原理、逻辑代数、程序设计、计算方法、数值逼近这些课都讲过。从白茨克医院到房川医院、阿高医院都讲过。103G引到学校的时候是大家齐忙活，包括有些工人，这个搬运，包括学习系里的老师，因为当时大部分教师都没见过计算机，也都没摸过。说因为大家那时候很热闹，我光记着就是人很多。这2层的小楼，上边是主机房，下边呢是电机，那个输入输出设备那一套外部设备，和办公室。复旦那边也很重视，复旦给俺联系的车派的专车运来的。好像最后我印象很深，就是最后电压。说电压是不是有点问题？把电压稍微调高一点，一下子机器通了，所以大家都很高兴。从73年到75年，调试成功以后一直通着电，我们一直用着。到75年停的电，就是在什么科普工作了、教学工作了、科研工作了。这台103G吧，都给我们带来了很大的作用。由于我们有了这台103G，可以说在同类学校当中，我们系里计算机教育是走在前列的。当时中学都觉得计算机是高精尖的东西，摸不着、看不见的。我们的学生呢，他起码看见了，起码摸了，所以他就觉着给他们准备条件。我对这个103G吧就特别有感情。